Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on now to the Punch. Tinubu's 2027 bid. APC courts opposition governors with high-stakes offers. Picture story here, 120 suspected Lagos internet fraudsters to face trial. Nigerian teenager's corpse recovered from Ireland water. Oyebanji's second-term endorsement divides Ekiti APC. Ibadan Ogbomoso monarchs reject Alaafin as permanent council chair. UTME receipt JAM to release results of 379,000 candidates on Wednesday. OPS, that's Organized Private Sector, presses for rate cuts as MPC convenes today. Global health at risk as funding crisis hits WHO. And marketers import 436 billion naira petrol amid row with Dangote. Okay?
Yes, so the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has vowed to prosecute the 120 suspected internet fraudsters arrested on Monday in various parts of Lagos State. So according to a statement by the EFCC on Monday, the suspects, comprising 95 males and 25 females, were arrested following credible intelligence about their alleged involvement in internet-related fraud. The statement noted that upon their arrest, exhibits such as cars, jewelry, mobile phones, and incriminating documents were recovered from the suspects. It read, and I quote, "Operatives of the Lagos Zonal Directorate 1 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have arrested 120 suspects or suspected internet fraudsters comprising 95 males, 25 females at various locations in Lagos. The suspects were arrested on Monday, May 19, 2025, following a credible intelligence and thorough surveillance regarding their alleged involvement in internet-related fraud." So they said they recovered items, 26 exotic cars, expensive jewelry, smartphones, laptops, and several incriminating documents. So they are going to be under probe and will be charged to court when they are done with the investigation. So if you see the picture in front of the papers, you see how they paraded them there.
There were about how many exotic cars did they?
26.
Can you imagine?
Okay. Do you want to go?
Go on.
Okay. They said there's a fresh wave of PMS importation into the country, and it has made the row between oil marketers and Dangote Petroleum Refinery to linger amid signs of deepening tensions in Nigeria's downstream oil sector. So the row deepened after independent oil marketers resumed large-scale importation of petrol, as fresh data shows that over 496.17 million liters of petrol was brought into the country within 9 days. And then 2 weeks ago, Alhaji Dangote declared that his 20 billion refinery was still fighting for survival. He said that the importation of petrol and the reluctance of major marketers to buy in bulk from the refinery, despite its increased production capacity and improved output of petroleum products, is what's causing this stance. He also said that the battle with entrenched oil cabals, one that began even before refining commenced full operations, was still ongoing. From what all we can see, they're saying that the oil marketers have used scarce foreign exchange to bring in this amount, and like a total of 2.42 trillion naira has been spent in 70 days to bring in petrol PMS. So industry sources are saying the development is a result of growing friction between private infill importers, depot owners, Dangote Refinery, which is rooted in stakeholders in what stakeholders describe as an unfavorable business condition. They said many marketers are deliberately opting to import PMS rather than purchase from the refinery because of a combination of economic and operational challenges.
And also to frustrate his business.
Okay. Yeah, so I took the story about the search and rescue operation of the Nigerian teenager whose corpse was recovered from a river in Ireland. Yeah, the 3 teenagers had gone swimming. The ages between 14 and 16, I believe. 16 and 19, sorry. They'd gone swimming and then they encountered problems. One of them managed to swim to shore. The other one is in hospital with serious serious condition. And the third one, they found, they brought helicopters and everything to look for him. They finally found him, but it was his body.
Hi.
They
Really
found
sad.
late last night. Very, very sad.
Did they say how it happened?
They said they encountered problems. I don't know why
What
they
kind
went
of
to swim in the
problems?
river.
Yeah.
This
Went
is the
swimming,
second Nigerian child that we're talking about. Last
eh?
week there was a Nigerian child too that had to be taken out because of swimming mishaps.
in a
And now
river
this
in
one.
the Bonkrana community, you know. And I don't know. I feel sorry for his
I
parents.
imagine his
Yeah.
loved ones.
So rest in peace. Let me take the traditional leaders and stakeholders and Ibadan land and Ogbomoso land have strongly opposed the proposed legal amendment by the Oyo State House of Assembly to make the Alaafin of Oyo the permanent chairman of the State Council of Obas and Chiefs. The proposition was contained in a joint statement issued on Monday in Ibadan, signed by the Mogajis, the Bales, the Monarchs, and the Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, the Ibadan Compounds Peace Initiative, prominent sons and daughters of Ibadan land, and the Mogaji from the Shoun ruling houses of Ogbomoso all signed. The bill was to amend the chieftaincy law, which would establish Alaafin as the permanent chairman of the council, passed its second reading on the floor of the Oyo State House of Assembly last Thursday, and they were writing to oppose this completely. Moving on now to Daily Sun very quickly. UTME mass failure, pressure on JAMB registrar persists. NBA to set up anti-corruption committee in all 130 branches. Lagos needs over 3 trillion naira to tackle threats of coastal erosion, says Commissioner. Man kills wife, child over feeding allowance. Judicial independence, CJN, tasks judges of lower courts on ethical conduct. Protests rock Kaduna refinery over alleged chemical pollution. And finally, capital market crucial for Nigeria's $1 trillion economy goal, says Wale Edun. Which story are we starting with in Sun?
Yes, so I have the protest that rocked Kaduna refinery over alleged chemical pollution. So they said women from Nisi, Kapam, and Rido communities staged the protest yesterday at the Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemical Company, KRPC. They said they were decrying alleged release of harmful chemicals that severely impacted their health, environment, and livelihoods. The protest started as early as 6 a.m. with demonstrators accusing the company of emitting a toxic substance in August 2024. And according to the protesters, the incident led to widespread illness, crop failure, and deaths of livestock in the affected communities. So the women's leader from Mrs. Juliana Abrak said that the aftermath of the emission rendered farming nearly impossible, leaving families without food and forcing many of them to seek sustenance elsewhere. She says, we are suffering, there's no food, we have to go elsewhere in search of something to eat. We have fertile land, but we are too afraid to farm. And they also criticized the company for ignoring their presence despite getting to the refinery gate as early as 5 a.m. to get engagement. So Mrs. Kelita Yaguda, who was a resident of Kapam, also recounted receiving only paracetamol and ulcer medication during a brief hospital visit that the company had organized, and they promised that they were going to treat them afterwards. They had made those promises, but no medical tests were done. She said that over 500 people have been affected. Less than 50 received any form of assistance from the company. So now they are calling on, NNPCL to get involved with this. They are calling on the particular company and the government to look into this. Their community, they are not able to do anything else since those toxic substances were released into the environment. I think the government needs to pay attention to the plight of those people.
Lagos needs over 3 trillion to tackle threats of coastal erosion. So the Commissioner for Waterfront Infrastructure Development, Ekunda Elebiosu, during a ministerial press briefing to give scorecards of the ministry, says that there were plans to scale up the deployment of growing technology. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's the first time I'm coming across the word. They said it's a proven coastal defense system along the state's vulnerable shoreline as part of a proactive measures to address the growing erosion challenges. He said that to learn about this particular coastal defense system, he led a high-level delegation to explore international best practices and forge partnership for Sustainable Coastal Management in the Netherlands. So this groin is a rigid hydraulic structure built from an ocean shore or riverbank that interrupts water flow and limits the movement of sediment. The technology has been effectively used to arrest coastal erosion and stabilize beaches in several parts of the world, including the Netherlands. And he says, though Lagos has already begun implementing this technology, the sheer scale of the challenge to stretch the usage along the 180-kilometer stretch of shoreline presents a significant financial burden. And so therefore, so with the cost projected exceeding 3 million naira. So it's clear that strategic collaborations will be needed to be able to use this. And it looks, well, that's good news.
All right, that's all we can take on the front page review this morning. When we come back with our hot topic of today, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.